I am recording. Clap sync in 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sheep and Friends podcast. I am your host, Sinister Sheep, back with my co-host, Markeith Black.
Hi.
And my co-host, Ronald.
Welcome back, everyone.
And our two special guests. One of them is reoccurring. Peter. Say hello to the people, Peter.
Yo, what up?
And our newest guest, Tyler. Say hello to the people, Tyler.
Hello there.
All right. So, as you can see through the title, this is going to be a spoiler discussion on The Last of Us Part 2. Some of us have played it. Some of us just know the basic outline of the story. Just show of hands, who's actually finished and played it? I have. Tyler, I know you have.
Can you see my hand?
I deadass just raised my hand. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
Off to a great goddamn start. Peter, you finished it as well.
Yes, sir.
Markeith, you just know the story beats?
Just watched. Yeah, I know the story. I watched some cutscenes, and I know what happens. And Abby's arms are huge, and that's the gist of it.
Yes.
So you got it all down.
Yeah.
Last of Us 3 will be just Abby's arms.
Yeah, so this podcast has been a minute and 30 seconds, so I think that should just wrap it up. Abby's arms are huge, and overall, a 10 out of 10.
I have nothing else to say.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, anyways. I don't even know where to start with this game. So
let's talk about gameplay.
Let's start with the leaks, because that definitely plays a huge factor. Because, I mean, I only want to talk about it because this has been, like, the biggest leaks video games have ever kind of faced. Especially with such, like if the Doom Eternal... Yeah, if the Doom Eternal script got leaked, like, no one would give a shit. But, like, because Last of Us 2 is such a story-driven game, like, Naughty Dog was right to worry that they wouldn't have a lot of sales or whatever. But actually, this is one of the best selling PS4 games.
It is the best by like double.
So like all the people on YouTube that are just like, don't buy this goddamn game because of the plot.
They already made bank.
Well, could you just care to explain what the? Could you just care to explain the leak?
Okay.
The actual leak, because I never saw the leak.
Yeah.
Before playing.
Peter is actually one of the ones who's one of the people who's gone in completely blind, if I'm correct, right, Peter?
I went in blind too.
You went in blind too? Okay.
Yeah.
So I had it spoiled for me, just because of YouTube comments, which I knew was a mistake, but I just couldn't help myself. Basically, the major part of the leak was that Joel dies very early in the game. Now, the leaks that I heard of was that as Abby, you actually control the character and kill Joel, and that doesn't happen. It's just a cutscene or whatever. But I think a lot of people are enraged because Joel is such a quote unquote beloved character, and they just didn't like how they died. You know what? Let's just get into Joel's death. All right, let's just take a tally. Who likes Joel's death? I like Joel's death. Tyler?
I liked it. I mean, I don't like it, but I liked it.
Right.
I thought he deserved it. I'm so glad he died that way.
Right. Ronald?
How do you really feel? Okay. If we look at it from like I liked it. I mean, it was I don't want to say quick, but it was like it wasn't like a torture scene.
He didn't get, but he also didn't get like the heroes like he like you play. I don't know who played. I don't want to spoil Red Dead, but. Any game, there's a lot of games where like the main character will get like this like heroic.
Like they'll go out in like a blaze of glory.
Yeah. That's just not how that works.
No, exactly. I actually have a review coming out, hopefully by next Monday. I keep pushing it back just because finding gameplay footage sucks. But I make a point in it basically saying that having Joel die, like let's just say hypothetically, everyone apparently on the internet wants Joel to die a heroic death, right? So I paint this scenario basically that what if, Joel goes and saves Tommy and then dies in a blaze of glory trying to save him, right? That does not fit within The Last of Us tone. The Last of Us tone is super pessimistic world and a super harsh world. So that really wouldn't, like, Joel dying in a heroic way would not fit into the tone of the Last of Us universe. Like, I think all these YouTubers are like tone deaf because they're just like, oh, Joel was such a great character. He went out like a bitch. Number one, he did really shitty fucking things, like pretty much doom all of humanity just because of his own selfishness. And
they didn't give her the choice.
Yeah, I think I'm also confused how people thought that Joel was going to be a mainstay in the game, because in the 2016 fucking trailer, like, you see it's primarily focused on Ellie, and then
they said it was about Ellie.
Yeah, they said it was about Ellie. All the gameplay footage was about Ellie, and then people were surprised that Joel died. It's like, in order for Ellie's character to really go forward, Joel needs to take a step back, because we already played Joel's journey in the first game. Now it's time for Ellie to get into it. So, and then another part of the leaks basically was, unless, actually, before we move on, does anyone want to add to that?
Well, I would just say, I just saw a tweet that I thought was funny. What it was talking about, somebody was complaining about Joel dying, just like kind of randomly like that, and somebody's like, "Yeah, a character dies like that in the post-apocalyptic zombie game. That never happens."
Yeah,
like
right.
I feel like what's happened. And it's kind of that anticipation thing that happens a lot with big movie franchises or shows. You wait 7 years for this game, and you play the game, and you thought Joel was great. So you're waiting 7 years, and you have all these fan theories in your head and all these ways that you want the second game. You're like, yeah, I'm going to go back with Joel, and Ellie's going to be by my side, and we're going to go kill people. But, like, there's a time jump. There's groups formed. There's no, the Doctor was insignificant to us, but it means he's somebody to somebody else. And that's literally the entire point of this game. Because most games you're just following one character and they're always in the right. So it really makes and I've only played through The Last of Us once, and not even when it came out. I played it on the PS4 remaster, so I have no emotional attachment to this game.
Right.
From a strictly standpoint of that universe, how I know it, his death was one of the most realistic deaths I've seen in the video game in recent time. Because that's how that would happen.
Well,
you kill somebody, you doom the world, they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I also like how he dies without, like, a whimper. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these games, it's just like he'll say a single word, Ellie, and then get his brain bashed in. But nah, he doesn't even get that. He just dies.
To be fair, based on what I saw in the credit scene, like, the dude got his head smashed in a couple times before the final blow.
By Tiger Woods, yes.
Yes. I was going for a Tiger Woods joke. Fuck you. And I wouldn't be surprised if she kind of went for the throat a couple of times, so he couldn't even say anything or see anything. My dude was just like,
yeah, he was pretty much just beat into a
have any of you been hit with a golf club before?
No, can't say.
Yes. I hope.
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
No, just keep going.
Peter wants his waifu to beat him with a golf club.
Yeah, Abby, if you're real.
Please.
I have to kill your dad again. Please, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Choke me with your huge arms. And
is that what it takes?
Wing me with the golf club.
Hit me with that iron.
Man. Peter.
I think there's just a huge disconnect with how I think people who like Joel, I'll respect it, but I think you're fundamentally looking at the character in a wrong way, because he's not a likable character whatsoever when you really kind of look at him from a more critical standpoint. When you kind of back yourself away, similar to you, Tyler, I watched the game when it first came out through like a PewDiePie video, and then I played the game. I actually played the game in I think January or February, and looking at it from a critical standpoint, because I had to write a research paper on the game.
You what?
I wrote a research paper on The Last of Us.
Yeah, he's a UConn boy.
What'd you get?
I got an A on it.
Hey!
Rise up gamers?
Because I was the only person to do something that wasn't a movie about bullshit. I did a video game instead, and my teacher was like, "Oh, that's pretty fucking cool." But Joel is fucking manipulative the entire game. He's so selfish to himself. Well, obviously that's what selfish means. He does not care about Ellie. He sees Ellie as a toy. I said
as his new daughter.
Yeah, it's like
It's a replacement for Sarah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and
R.I.P. Sarah.
Similar to what you were saying, like when you came in, Tyler, with the whole he took her choice away. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't care about Ellie. Who versus me as the player, I was like, I love Ellie. I enjoy being around Ellie. All the little funny, little quirky conversations you can have with her throughout the game, and then even playing as Ellie in the winter section made me love Ellie even more. But Joel didn't see. Joel loved. I don't doubt that Joel loves Ellie. I just think
he loves Ellie.
I just think it's a fucked up negative one.
Not like that.
No, not like that.
That people shouldn't be idolizing him as a father of video games.
Right.
I think
the best example. Like, he should not be the best example or the best. He shouldn't be loved in a way that a lot of people love Joel. Because he's really fucked up.
Let's put it this way. God of War. Kratos in the reboot is a better father. This man genocided a whole planet, and yet is a better father than Joel is to Ellie.
Yeah. I think people, whether they know it or not, like the relationship of Ellie and Joel more than they like Joel himself, because you play as him in the whole game, so you assume that you like that game and you like playing it because you like him, because he's a big part of it. But I think more if like people really kind of looked at what they liked about the first game's story, a lot of it is how like you found this girl and you travel with her across country, and at first you don't want to do it, and then he connects with her. So whether it's a selfish connection or not, there are a lot of people who could have a genuine connection with that. So I think a lot of people like Joel through that story and not necessarily his actions.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
it's kind of like the...
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Marcus.
It's kind of like a anti-hero type theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're morally gray characters, yeah.
Yeah, like for example, I remember a while back my one of my professors, like, he asked me a question like, who's the good guy in Wolf of Wall Street? And my dumbass said Jordan Belfort. And it's basically, you could say the same thing with this thing. If you like as devoted as diehard Last of Us fans, like, who's the good guy in Last of Us? They probably might say Joel. But then if you think about it, he ain't that good. Dude kind of doomed humanity for his own, as Peter was saying, his own selfish ways and shit.
And I think that's actually...
I don't even...
Oh,
no, go JJ.
I think that's even more elaborated in this game, because there's not really any bad guys in this, in the new game, part 2. I mean, besides maybe the cult member, you could argue. Cult members or something like that.
I'm sorry, can we just sidebar a bit, because I didn't see those cutscenes. Based on what my friend was telling me about the game, these motherfuckers hang dead people from their entrails.
Live people. They hang live people and then gut them while they're hanging. The entrails fall out, and then they're decorative.
Yeah,
they're really nice and tidy up the room.
Yeah.
So civilization goes to shit, and we just go back to the medieval ages.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, like, I'm not sure. Do you guys, any of you guys watch Walking Dead, or at least read the comics?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or at least are you familiar with the story for the most part?
Yeah.
So you guys are familiar with the Saviors, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, cannibals? No. The Saviors were like the
Deacon's group.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like, if you read the comics, it's like a year or two after the outbreak. But if you watch the show, it's like a couple of years later. But still, either way, like, no matter what happens, it's still like, it just shows humanity reverts back to
because who's gonna stop
barbarianism? Exactly. Like, so yeah, like, people in The Last of Us will hang people alive and then gut them because it's a turf war.
And can I just say, real 30-second sidebar back to the spoilers? I found an interesting one of the spoilers was that the cultist was a Christian group, and that the game was trying to push anti-Christianity.
Yeah.
And in reality, it was literally just a woman who deemed herself as like a god, and everyone followed her. I
heard that too, because I heard there was like a female Trump in the game, and basically that was the cult. But like, I mean, I guess if you want to dig real deep into it. But no, not really. Not really, even really.
Yeah, even Lev. Lev was like none of the scars aren't even following the prophet's ideology.
Yeah, he dead ass calls them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, they're not following our true path, the original path that our Savior set forth.
Yeah.
They're doing their own thing once she died. So I think if you're from the Christian standpoint, it's kind of like a play on once like the church kind of like did stuff. They became a lot more fucked up but using the Bible and all the scriptures to like do fucked up things. But I mean, it's something you could say about any religion, really, or any.
Yeah, I think that was the point. I don't think it was targeting one in general. I think it was just targeting fanaticism in general, which is why I would say they're probably the only antagonists per se, even though they weren't really named antagonists.
Right. Yeah.
Because those were the only neutral party. Well, they were killing Abby's group and they were killing your group. They were
pretty much a lot of the enemies are just people that are in your way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was the first game. It's like Joel would just kill anyone who was in their way, and Ellie follows the same path. But I just want to cap off on the leak stuff. So, what was pretty much leaked? We'll talk. I feel like we're gonna dedicate a whole thing to Abby, so we'll talk about her later. But yeah, Joel's death. I thought it was done well. Or I thought it was very well done. Fits the tone of The Last of Us. All y'all complaining, shut the fuck up. Well, don't shut the fuck up. But like, okay, actually play the game. Don't just give your opinions off the script. Actually, play the game because okay, I'm gonna describe a movie to you right now, and it's gonna sound like the most boring shit in the world, right?
Man of Steel.
Yes. All right. Yes, so this janitor who is a bum for his whole life in Boston solves a math equation. A math teacher sees it and takes him in. He's a troubled kid, so he has to go. Yeah. So on paper that sounds boring as shit, but if you actually watch the movie, it's one of the best movies of all time. Rest in peace, Matt Damon, or Robin Williams.
Wow, dude!
I'm coming after you, Matt Damon.
Okay, when did this happen? Not Matt Damon.
Surprise!
But you actually,
Fuck you, 2020.
My point is you can't go off a script and just make your judgments. Then you have to actually watch the product or play the product, especially if it's a video game.
That's 25 hours long.
Where the only aspect of it isn't just story, it's gameplay as well. Like you have to take that into consideration. Don't just go off of what people have been telling you or whatever. But
also,
go ahead.
Sorry. No, people were saying like the way he died. They were like, he's a really careful character, so he wouldn't just go in that cabin. I don't know if you saw it beforehand with the 50 hundreds of whatever they're called, zombies, whatever you want to call them, chasing him. Whether he went into the cabin or not, he was still with them in an enclosed space. He could have been like, "Nah, I'm going to stay out here," and they still would have had that same conversation.
Right.
So the whole thing where he would never. Yeah, that's like the whole thing. He would never go in that cabin with random strangers. He didn't have to. They could have killed. I don't think it mattered where they killed him. I just think that's happened. They just outran hundreds of zombies and saved this girl. And she's like, "Hey, it's cold out. You can come inside." And he was probably like, "Bet, whatever." Like, it's just it would have happened either. There was no escaping.
The only thing is that I will say it's a little coincidental that right as Abby's going out to hunt for Joel, she just so happens to stumble upon him. Like, I would have liked. Like, this Last of Us Part 2 story-wise, we'll get into gameplay first, but just on the side tangent, story-wise feels like a Part 2 and a Part 3, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like Part 2 should have just been like, Ellie just so happens to stumble on Abby, and then they travel through, they become best friends, and then Abby realizes that Ellie's associated with Joel, and then at the very end of the game, Joel dies, and then the third game is Ellie's going on her revenge quest. But that didn't turn out the way...
Yo, you just fixed it.
What was that?
You just fixed it. Yeah. I'm just saying that you fixed it. It
would have made the sympathizing with Abby a lot easier for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. Especially
because you wouldn't...
Oh, sorry. I keep cutting
No, that's it. It's just it's fine. It's just what it is. Like, you would have played either as her or with her the whole game, like you did. If this plot is as you said, and in Last of Us 2 you played as Ellie and Abby was your companion, like Ellie was in the first game, I think it would have hit harder just because you would have felt betrayed, and then if you went through all that like backstory, like
because the best parts of the first Last of Us game, I've kind of had a different experience with you guys. I did pick up the PS4 version, but I didn't know anything about the game. I just picked it up. I'm like, zombie game, cool. Naughty Dog, even better. And so I didn't know anything going into it, and it's still one of my favorite games of all time. I love the game to death. I've replayed it maybe 3 or 4 times. But the best parts of those games, which I briefly touched upon in the last podcast, is basically Joel and Ellie's, like, Joel will just be walking down a hallway and you just hear Ellie just like humming to herself and stuff like that. You know, it's the non-cutscene relationship stuff where Ellie's just asking stupid kid questions and stuff. That's great. And this game kind of doesn't really have the banter besides Ellie and Dina, and then later on Abby and the cool kid,
Dina?
Levy.
yeah.
Lev?
We will discuss Dina. I want to focus on the gameplay because we're going to go in on the story, but let's just get the gameplay out of the way and aspects we like or didn't like about it. Now, I saw Peter's...
I love the tall grass. I love tall grass.
Tall grass, awesome. Now, I actually
Best
saw
gameplay.
Peter's review, and I actually have some things to like go back and forth because I think we disagree on some things but agree on others. But Peter, why don't you go ahead and talk about the gameplay? Lead us into that.
All right.
Oh, by the way, check out Peter's review on the Yukon Gaming channel. It's a great review. I watched it, loved it.
Channel, what?
So, okay. The Last of Us, like the first one, even watching it, I was like, this game is so boring to watch. Like the story is awesome, but the game is just so boring. And then I played it, and I was like, "Yep, it's freaking boring." Like I told a friend in high school, like, "I'll give it a try one day." Because he was like, "Dude, the gameplay's so revolutionary. Do it." I was like,
"All right,
okay."
It's
4 years
good.
later,
it's good, but it's not revolutionary.
4 years later, I play it, and I'm like, "Wow, this game still fucking sucks. Like it's so boring." And so I was really hoping, especially through a lot of the trailers, because a lot of the trailers kind of made it seem like it might be an open world game, and there was a nice little open world section that they immediately just got rid of for linear levels, which is not a problem. I think the linear levels were still fun to play because there were still like branching sections for each of the linears for everything. However, when you do it for 25 fucking hours, it can be so annoying and boring.
Drive a man mad.
Like, I was thinking about it, and I was comparing it because a lot of people were comparing it to Metal Gear. Like, oh my god, this is the new Metal Gear.
No.
And I was like, you know what? Let me compare it to Metal Gear. Let's see. Metal Gear 5, a game that isn't completed, was still more fun to play than this game because the variety of things you could do. But I mean, I'm talking about two completely different games. But The Last of Us 2 is just like nothing is different. You just you can like pretty much you hide for like 3 seconds until someone sees you because you really can't beat a level completely through, especially with humans, like
especially with dogs.
Oh my!
Yeah, with dogs
God.
and humans, like it's not easy to completely stealth your way through. So you will be expunging ammo to fight off people, and it's just not fun. Like there's no variety in the gameplay to make it worth.
I actually kind of disagree with you on some points. So, I mean, I'm a stealth boy, so anytime you give me less resources and I have to actually plan out my shit, like. I love that. Like, give me one arrow and like 10 enemies, and I will go fucking ballistic. Like, I love that shit. Especially like, I feel like a lot more in this game. I use the bottle and brick mechanic more, where I would just distract enemies and just like completely take out a different person, just like across the field, just like go over there while I kill all these people over here.
I need to kill your friends real quick.
Yeah, I need to kill your friends real quick. Fuck off, especially the dog. Fuck off with the dog. But I mean I like the I just like the combat system because it's pretty much if Uncharted was just a stealth game, and the backpack system I love the backpack system. It's so convenient. It's so great or whatever the fuck. But I do kind of get your point that like during the whole game the combat does get boring after a while. Especially we'll get into Abby's campaign, but holy fucking shit! Like sometimes I was just like, just have like a 30-minute cutscene. I just need to stop with the combat real quick. I will say the silencer pistol, that's my baby.
Ooh.
I love the silencer.
The silencer pistol is.
marry
I'm
it.
so glad they had that. Like, because bow and arrows were a little, especially now they had a lot of bullet drop with the bow and arrows.
Yeah.
The bow and arrows. So having a pistol with a silencer on there
It was
made
beautiful.
encounters a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
It made me so angry when I played as Abby. I know you want to save it for another part, but like they brought back the shiv for no reason.
Exactly.
I
Because the
was
whole game,
so
as
angry.
as Ellie, you have the knife, so you could just take down clickers real quick, and then all of a sudden, number one in Abby's campaign, like you just do
a
a full
militant group.
restart on your arsenal. And number two, it's like, oh, by the way, your stealth takedowns are slower because you're actually choking out people instead of stabbing people, and also you need to make shifts. And it's like,
She's a militant
okay,
group.
game,
Where's her
fuck you.
knives? Where's your
Yeah,
knives?
she's
The
like-
group is a militant group.
exactly.
She's like, hey, Mr. Arsenal guy, can I get my usual? Except the knife. Don't get the knife back there that I clearly see. Don't need that. Why would I need a knife?
Can
hell,
you
literally
I'd
my
use a
second-
machete.
Can you spell
5
the
seconds
knives
later-
down for me for bullets? Thanks.
5 seconds later, oh shit, there's a clicker. How am I gonna kill it fast enough?
Go
Here's a
choke
pair
on
of
it.
scissors, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Ellie's-
So
Ellie's campaign is definitely more stealth based, and I feel like Abby's just guns a blazing, in my opinion.
I feel like that was intentional. That was definitely intentional. though.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah.
were a lot of segments where they just gave you a ton of ammo around when you were playing as Abby, so you could have a big gunfight. And I get that was intentional, but when you play like 10 or so hours and you're used to stealthing and you're used to conserving and you're used to doing this, and this, and then they're like, psych, it's like, oh god, I have to reassess how I'm going to play this entire second half of the game now.
Yeah.
well,
Abby Simulator?
I actually don't mind that. Like a lot of people did.
I don't hate it,
didn't.
but it's just what it
I
was.
should have mentioned this in my initial review, but I just it was the basics of both the combat were very similar to where I hated it. But I didn't mind like resetting my entire character. I didn't
like the new
mind
stuff.
doing that again. I really like that Abby had completely different skills
Yes, and
branching
guns.
through.
Yeah, that
Like-
was cool.
Crossbow.
Like one of her abilities is like if you take down somebody, you get like a boost of adrenaline to do another attack.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Did I ever do that? No, but I love the option to have it because that would have been so badass. Just comboing off people like 1 strike, 2 strike, 3
Yeah.
strike. That would have been so cool.
The
And
crossbow,
the crossbow was
awesome.
amazing.
Oh,
Crossbow.
I love the crossbow.
Why didn't Ellie have a crossbow? Oh my
Ellie,
god, that's
Ellie,
like
get
the best
yourself a
weapon in the
crossbow.
entire
Could've
Honestly-
walked in there with a dude.
I was a little disappointed with the bow and arrow with Ellie. What the fuck
I'm very sorry.
is
That's
that?
why Chinese food coming back up.
That's good.
Jesus Christ. any fucking ways. The bow and arrow mechanics in The Last of Us, I mean, they're good, but like my
I
favorite
didn't
bow,
like the first game either.
yeah, my
Sorry.
favorite bow and arrow mechanic is actually within the new Tomb Raider games. I love
Oh
like,
yeah,
bow and
yeah.
arrow is my shit and if they just like used that aspects for The Last of Us bow and arrow stuff, like I feel like that would be like
I think
just
they were trying to make
beautiful.
the Last of Us bows a little too real, not too realistic, but like, what's the other? Tomb Raider is more like fun. You're like exploring. And it's
Yeah.
like whoa, look at these things. And The Last of Us is trying to like the director Neil Druckmann said it. He's like, this whole game is a fight for survival. You're not supposed to be like playing this game and like you're not Snake from Metal Gear. You're not going around. You're like limited resources. You have kind of iffy weapons. So that was definitely an intentional thing. But it also kind of sucks when you play other games where the bows are like
Yeah.
goated weapons.
Also, Abby's breathing mechanic I kind of liked. Like you can upgrade. I think you upgrade. I forget how you upgrade it. I think it's through the med packs or whatever. But like if you hold down, I think it's R3. Like she steadies her gun or whatever by just holding her breath in, and then like your aiming is a lot more steady, which helped out with like crossbow shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, this is a stealth game, but it's not branded as a stealth game, but it's a stealth game. Pretty much.
Can I go back to what we were talking about with the open world segment?
Sure,
'Cause
absolutely.
So basically, my opinion, and this will tie into the stealth thing, because I'm a person who either likes open world games or like really cinematic linear games. I don't like when there's an in between. Now, apparently, there was supposed to be an open world section in Abby's campaign similar to how Ellie had one, and then it got like scrapped for, I guess, time. I don't know. But I think, in my opinion, although I thought the open world stuff was cool and I liked getting extra stuff, for me and the type of game it is, being kind of slower and whatever, it didn't really work for me. Only because if it's going to be open world, like, I want a map that's really informative and easy to get to.
Yeah.
I want to be able to traverse really easily, and I want that to be the whole. Like, I don't like when they dip in and out. Like, I personally, although yes, the combat for 25 hours being super linear can get repetitive, I thought, like in the first game and in the segments in the second game, I thought the somewhat branching off things every once in a while was better than the open world, just because it seemed to it fit more. Like, it made, like, the style of that game, how cinematic it is. It just looked better and it felt more natural. So I think if they took out either, I wanted 2 open world segments or none, I guess is what I'm saying. Because I think if they took out the first one and just let it be a little more linear with those branching off paths, it just would have felt more natural. Especially given it's a stealth game and not like, you know, I don't know. I didn't hate it. I actually thought it was kind of cool, but the fact that it was only in that one thing and then the next 20 hours you never did it again, I was like, okay, that was kind of pointless. Like, just let me do the one. Just let me just do it how it's going to be the whole game, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of woods, it sounds like Peter's running through the woods right now.
Oh, that's my B.
No, but I don't know. I enjoyed the gameplay overall. It's, again, like what your friend said, it's not revolutionary. I mean, the most revolutionary thing about it and what critics is dogs. Actually, you know what? Let's actually get into enemies. Fuck them dogs. Fuck them so goddamn much.
I actually didn't have a problem with them. The dogs were really simple. Like,
well, that's because you're a Satanist and fuck you.
Like, what would happen is
I feel like they got easier as it went, but the first couple encounters with dogs were unbearable.
Yeah,
they
just
were
like
everywhere.
It's like, so how do I avoid the dogs? And it's like, oh, you just gotta walk around shit. I'm like, that's your fucking solution?
The first encounter had like 5 or 6 dogs, and the last one had 1. I was like, all right, I guess I'll just kill the 1 dog and bail. Like, this isn't going to be a problem.
Yeah,
my first solution was to use the trip mines.
Oh,
I turned around, laid it down on the ground, walked away, looked at my trail, looked at my scent trail, and watched the dogs blow up.
You are sick fuck.
All right, dogs taken care of. Let's move on.
Peter is clearly a cat person.
I've lost so much respect.
I even looked up online, like, how do I take care of dogs? And they're like, yeah, you pretty much just gotta kill the dogs. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I just use my
motherfuckers.
Yeah, I just use my silencer pistol just to take them out or whatever. But me and Tyler both had this experience because I'm a stealth boy. I use the hearing mechanic a lot, and shamblers, fuck shamblers, straight up.
I don't even talk about them.
Wait, shamblers are the tracker zombies, right?
No, those are hunters. Shamblers are the big fat ones that explode and everything.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. Those things are so annoying. Those things are annoying.
Fucking die.
I don't even try stealth. I just literally throw 4 Molotovs at them, and if I have a companion, I sit in the back. I Fallout. I let the companion.
Once the flamethrowers are introduced, I'm like, oh, this is fun now.
This is good. I'm having a good time.
I can actually kill them and not want to kill myself.
Yeah. No, but
I'll do both.
Even the hunters, the ones where you can't hear with the stealth mechanic, because I'm a stealth boy, you have to pay attention to your surroundings, and then you think you're doing... there's one segment where you have to get past this door. I'm like, alright, sneaked by, all of them. And then all of a sudden, one just, jumps on my ass and fucking kills me. And I'm like, God damn it, just die. I just had to go out guns a-blazing. There's no way to stealth around them.
I went through a door, and I saw 3 looking at the other door I was originally going to go through, and I went, I hate this game. I don't want to play it anymore. This sucks.
Honestly, when they first introduced those hunters, I genuinely was terrified. That was one of the only sections where I was like, oh my fucking god, where are they? Where are they? And I was like, because it was in a pit, it was a dark room. It wasn't the pitch black. It wasn't the pitch. It wasn't the forest. It was the first time you see him with Ellie,
Yeah.
And I was
The
like, oh
subway
my
tracks?
god, this is so
Yeah, it's like red light.
terrifying. I don't. Those are the boomer. Those are like
Yeah,
boomer
no,
guys.
I think those are the boomer
I'm
guys.
the hunters. The hunters. You just visit them in like a.
Yeah,
I think I was just going to like some like section, and I was like, "Fuck me, what was that noise?" And like you see them walking around, and I'm like, "Are they scared of me? Like, why won't they attack me?"
And then of course,
every time I looked at them,
of course
and then
they throw in.
like,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
they were like the fucking like the booze from Super Mario. You turn at them and like they run away, and then you turn around and you turn your back to them and they like follow you. And I was like, fuck that. I was stealthing so hard, like pistol. I was aiming down my sights the entire time, waiting for them to come out. I was so terrified.
Can die. I don't want to even talk about it.
Thank God the flashlight doesn't affect like your stealth gameplay, because I was just like, at some points I was like, please God. Oh, fuck those wall ones, by the way. Like, they're introduced only in Abby's. Like, those were the only jump scares for me. Like, I literally would walk past, I'm like, is that one? And then it wouldn't jump out, I'm like, okay. And then the next one directly would just be like, brah, and I'm like, fuck me.
Even when I knew it was coming, it still got me. Like, there was one next to this thing I had open. I'm like, that thing's going to jump at me. And then it happens like a second after you start the animation, so you get a false sense of hope for like just a split second. You're like, oh.
Fuck.
No. Please
no,
don't.
please.
No, stop.
I think I've said pretty much. Oh, I also like the mechanics of the cult members, how if you take one of their members down and they're really close to one another, like say there's two, and they're really close to one another, if you take them down, then they start whistling and shit, and that's how you can tell like how close they are to you. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the scars definitely were
and then
like the cooler new enemy.
And then the Shamblers come in during like the epilogue, basically. I'm like, who are you guys? Never mind.
Yeah. Can we... I kind of want to get your... I know I texted you, Jack, about the introduction of the scars, how I thought it was like one of the most well done led up. Because it was like really kind of subtle.
Because they don't outright say, like, there's no like, like a lesser game would just be like, oh, you see this chick, and like she's like, you know, a goddess, and then you would have a boss fight with her where she's throwing Molotovs, but that doesn't happen. And the way the cult explain is through notes, which I love that shit, like Dark Souls shit, like just read up on the lore and shit like that. So I thought that was very well done. Like the notes get more and more fucked up as you keep progressing.
Yeah, because that's what I was texting you. You're walking with Dina and you see a picture of her and you're like, I have no idea what the hell it is. That's kind of weird. And then you kind of pick up some notes about like another group from the Washington Liberation Front, the Wolves. You pick up a few notes talking about the other group in the area, or men dead and we don't know, and you go in that building and there's people like strung up. And then as you get closer to that scene where you get arrowed, which scared the ever-loving shit out of me.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting because the notes are getting more aggressive. You're seeing more and more things, and obviously if you don't read the notes, you're more in the dark. And then there's that scene where you go on the workbench and they totally Uno reverse card you, and you get attacked on the workbench because they think.
Oh my god, that workbench scene was so good.
Yeah, nothing is
sacred.
Oh my
god, amazing.
Nothing is sacred.
Like literally, you're just customizing your gun. And it's like.
I heard footsteps and I couldn't get out of it, and I was like, no.
Well, there was one door I was trying to unlock, and it was just locked. I'm like, how do I get in? And I couldn't find a way in. And I was like, all right, whatever the fuck. And then I just go to the workbench, and all of a sudden, this motherfucker just grabs onto me. And I was like, what the shit?
So are you guys talking about the one with the like little old, like those refugee wolf?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Because like I thought that was so awesome. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, cool, I get to use my workbench. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, oh, cool, workbench is around. This place used to have people in it, whatever. Okay. Start going up, and then, like, some dude grabs me, like, who the fuck are you?
That's what I mean, right? And then, like, you get scared, and you kill them, and then you read their notes, and they're talking, they think you're a scar. Mm-hmm. So now at that point, that's literally right down the road from when you actually meet them. So you went from seeing a picture, there was never any exposition about this cult, right? You see a picture of her on the wall, and you make a comment that it's dumb. You get some notes about a weird other group, then you get notes about the aggressive other group, they get called scar, whatever. Yeah. And then some dudes attack you because they think you're them. And then you're just walking. You're like, hey, somebody's hung up in a tree. That's kind of messed up. You hear a whistle, which kind of sounds like a bird, and gets shot by an arrow. And I'm like, this. And then when I saw them come out, I was like, that was incredible because I had no idea when they were coming,
Yep,
and I was
yep.
learning about them along the like. I'm sorry, I just thought that was one of the best introductions to a group in a game
No,
I probably ever played.
No,
Like,
I completely agree. The enemies in this game are really awesome. I just want to touch on two more things. One brief one. The sound design in this game is fucking beautiful. Like when you stealth kill someone and you stab a knife in their neck, you can feel you can hear the gurgles and shit. Like I was like, like some of the death scenes in this, some of the death
some of them got me.
animations are
Some
like.
of them got me, and I'm good with gore. Some of them I was like, oh no.
I was like,
Did you-
Jesus.
Did you guys ever, whenever you did a stealth kill, did you ever turn the camera to see like your character's
Yes,
face?
I actually
Yeah.
always do because it looks fun.
Like it's like most games. It's like they're deadpan. They're like, oh, let's kill him.
Nah, Ellie's
This
like
Ellie's like out for fucking blood, dude. She wants you to die. Oh my god, they really like
And then
took
Abby-
little details. And
Abby
made it
looks
so
like she's
good.
trying to
Just the
take a
level
shit.
down. Yeah, dude.
She might-
Same with. It's such. I was so happy that they did that. I was like, it's just the little things like that, and the sound design. Like, fuck, the rain sounded so good. Like,
Yeah.
why'd the rain sound good?
Also,
God damn it.
let's just briefly talk on, and then we'll go into the story and stuff. The goddamn graphics in this game. First off, fuck anyone who says the graphics were bad or not like the E3 trailer. When has the E3 trailer ever actually been
Shut up.
accurate to the fucking,
They faked
actual
a lot
gameplay?
of graphic. They faked a lot
They
of
did.
graphic techniques. Like
They
they
did,
did
it's
like
true.
fake ray tracing on an OG PS4. Like that's impressive.
Yeah, but like at the same time, the graphics are still fucking mind blowing in this game. Like that whole farm scene, I was like creaming in my pants. I was like,
Did
holy
you
goddamn
utilize
shit.
the? Did either of you utilize the photo mode?
I don't have PS
like-
Plus, so it doesn't let me save photos. It says it takes the picture, and then it's not on there. And I was
Yeah.
so pissed. Because photo modes are my favorite thing ever, and I couldn't do it in one of the best photo modes of all time.
This is the first game that I did photo modes in.
Mhm.
I want to go back and do Death Stranding's photo mode because they have a lot
I
of
would
good.
love to, and I would have done it
graphics
when I
too.
played it, but
But like there is a lot of sections, especially the farm,
yeah.
where I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me just like position the camera this way.
Yeah.
Let me get the nice 4:3 picture because I love me some black and white noir bullshit.
Oh,
I took
yeah.
a lot of those kinds of photos that were like black and white 4:3. Because there's a lot of good sections, like when you're Ellie as like the little astronaut section.
Oh,
I
my
took a
God.
lot of nice photos. I took a lot of nice photos of her because the lighting in that section was really good. That's the thing; like they had such good lighting, they had such good At first, I didn't actually like the graphics. I thought the graphics looked like dog shit for a second. I was like, "What the heck? I'm playing a PlayStation 4 Pro, and this is what my game looks like." And then I was like, and then the snow came, and I was like, "Okay, I'm a moron. Stop talking." But like it is so pretty, and the photo mode, like I genuinely, if I posted some of those pictures right now on
Make an
Instagram,
album.
I honestly don't think people would notice
Yeah.
if I took a real photo or
Think it's
not. Like I
possible.
look at them and I'm like,
Time might go up.
It was kind of good though. I couldn't do it because one of the like the last game I played, the photo mode was like Borderlands 3, which isn't even good for photos, but I just like photo mode and it's fun.
Mhm.
And even then, I was stopping the game a lot to take pictures. So like, part of me was really upset when I couldn't do it, and then part of me is like, you know what, this is a long enough game as it
Yeah,
is.
the last time I did some like the photo mode and anything was Arkham Knight, I think it was. Yeah, because that was like when the PlayStation 4 first came out, and I was like, God damn, look at the rain on Batman's face. Holy fucking shit.
Right.
But all right, now that we got gameplay and shit out of the way, overall I like the gameplay quite a bit. I feel like it's the best aspect of the game, as opposed to the story. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it
Alright.
right now: the story is not dumpster fire like the internet wants you to think. It's just
It's average.
it's below Naughty Dog's standards, I would say. So I'll just get into it. The first Last of Us game is great with the storytelling because the whole thing is about perspective, right? So like Ellie is the optimist and she goes through the optimist shit, and then Joel is the pessimist or the realist in the universe. Then toward the end, those roles are switched, whereas because of Ellie, Joel is more of an optimist, and because of Joel, Ellie is more of a pessimist or whatever. And like, it's sequel wise, that's the best like character. I don't want to say arc. like the best way a character could transfer from the original source material to sequel, because like that carried out perfectly for me. I'm pretty sure I just explained that really autistically, but
Yeah.
I guess let's yeah, let's just go through the game. I guess chronologically. Let's just skip the Joel shit because
We already
Joel
did
death.
that.
We already pretty much did that. I'll just say right off the bat, one of the best like voice actor performances or motion cap performances, especially the sex scene. Let's give it up, boys. First motion cap sex scene. Absolutely
Wait, real
beautiful.
quick on that. One of the leaks that I got was that Neil Druckmann, the director, like was the guy who did it with Abby, and he wanted the motion cap. And everyone was trying to cancel him because they're like, "Oh, this guy just wanted to bone the voice actress. What a sick bastard!" It wasn't even his character. It wasn't complete, and he didn't even voice the guy. They like used a model that looked like him, and some other dude did it. So he had nothing. I was like, "What is this? What do you mean?"
I just want to see the behind-the-scene footage of the motion cap fucking.
They probably were just wearing their black leotards.
Yes,
that's
you know what?
That's how they
Even better.
And probably with camera manipulation, they probably weren't even actually really behind each other. They probably were like, there was
Peter,
some space between them. Probably.
Don't destroy my dreams, okay? You know what, Peter?
Peter, optimistic about this.
I'm gonna destroy your dreams right now, Peter. Okay?
How are you gonna do that?
Your waifu is not real. Oh, god damn it, Ronald!
Your waifu isn't real. You're telling me Sumire/Kusabi isn't real? You son of a bitch!
Not only that,
how dare you?
But she will never be.
She will never be into you.
Man.
Sorry.
Damn it.
Out of curiosity, you think they play music just to get the mood running, or they just dead silent?
When there's like people around you with cameras and like whatever the hell, like there's not enough music in the world that will help that. You just gotta get.
But then again, all you just hear is like just the heavy breathing.
Okay, wait.
And
so even if like they didn't actually motion cap fuck, you think like the dude had to like fuck like a motion cap block just so they know the placement of like.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I think that might be even better.
Movie.
That might be better.
So I kind of saved myself from watching the sex scene. How rough was it?
It was very short. It was kind of awkward, but it was short. It wasn't like a long.
Yeah.
It was short, but it did the trick.
It was short, but it was enough. It was enough.
I wasn't expecting to see her tits at all. Like I was genuinely surprised. Like because like they did like a blackout scene with some dude's dick. They wouldn't show this guy's junk. So I was like,
very, very.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was another
video game.
Fake,
I'm canceling them.
That was another fake leak. They were like, Abby is transgender, and you could see in the sex scene that she has the scars. And I'm like, first of all, no, that's just not how that is.
She's just really fucking buff, dude.
She lives in a military camp with a full working gym, and it's the apocalypse. Sorry, she doesn't want to die. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Speaking of that, it pisses me off that somebody was telling me. One of my friends was like, "How is Ellie that buff in the apocalypse? It's the apocalypse." I'm like, two things. There's a fucking gym right there, and she lives in a society. She lives in a nice little society where she can like live in a society. She lives in like a camp where they're harvesting food. Like it looks like a very viable camp. There's like solar power apparently, or wind power. Clearly, they have enough food for you to fucking build your muscle.
Protein shakes are not on the top of the list for looting in the apocalypse. I'm fairly sure. So I'm sure she could have gotten a lot of them if she wanted them.
Are you telling me C4 wasn't up for grabs?
I think those nitpicky things are what really pissed me off about the story.
Yeah.
People are so nitpicky about things.
So, all right. So just one more aspect before we get into the actual goddamn story. Everyone's saying that this is like a SJW game. Just because lesbian's a main character doesn't mean it's a SJW. Like, to me, like, that kind of...
Jack, your sister's forced diversity. I'm sick and tired of hearing about
I know, honestly. But, like, okay, so SJW shit for me, I guess, which is such a, like, a gross word to use in 2020 now. Like, I feel like this is 2016. like that shit to me is some shit like Captain Marvel, where Captain Marvel is constantly like Samuel L. Jackson, you so weak, you know how to fix problem. I know how to fix problem because I am strong woman. Like that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Like girls kiss in Last of Us 2 and the whole internet freaks the fuck out.
When did people hate? When did straight people stop liking lesbians? I don't get it.
Right?
Like,
Yeah, did you not watch porn? Like you
that was my intro to porn. I literally looked up lesbians and I was like, oh,
now you hate lesbians?
Well, they hate them. They hate them when they're cooler than them, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you have Ellie, and she's badass, and she's the main character.
Focus. There you go.
Yeah. And plus, what Tyler was texting me when he was in the Ellie and Dina section, he was just like, I want Ellie and Dina to just fuck already because
they're flirting up a storm, dude. It was so annoying. I was like, for the love of God, just go in a building.
And they did. You're welcome.
And they smoked that ganja.
Smoke weed.
I find it funny because there's been a lot of times, and I'll keep the forced diversity like argument brief because I think it's dumb that people thought that it was like a social justice, whatever. There are plenty of games and movies, especially in shows, where you would have a male and a woman character who like don't even like each other, and then they end up falling in love, and it's through like flirting and all this like jabbing at each other. Anything, any show ever, any movie ever, where the characters like where they got to team up, and the girl's like, "You're a dumb dude," and she's like, "Yeah, well, you're gonna love me," and then they do. So the idea that two girls who obviously like each other are flirting and are dating, and that's forced to me is dumb because like it would literally be like watching whatever movie has like a romantic subplot and me being like, man, I'm sick and tired of the straight forced romance. It's so like, why does the guy always have to get the girl? Like it's
straight agenda.
Yeah, why are you pushing this straight agenda on me? Like it would sound people would think I'm an idiot if I said that to those same people.
Yeah,
right. I would sound like a moron. So to me, it sounds idiotic when you have a character who was gay in the first game. Keep in mind, this was not like oh wow, did she kiss
paid DLC gay?
Yeah,
paid DLC
but
gay.
You have to pay for your gay content.
The Last of Us. If you're quote a true fan, you would have wanted to play that because it's great, and you would have seen that. Like you wouldn't have. I don't remember that. Like you probably own the comic books. So shut up. Like you know what's going on.
Damn, Tyler.
It's the dumbest argument ever. It's like, oh, these two people were gay. It ruined the story for me because all they were talking about was their gayness. It's like, well, they like each other, so what are they supposed to do? Like high five?
I feel like
what do you want?
I feel like if Ellie was with like Jesse the entire time and they were flirting, like everyone would be like, oh, I really like Ellie and Jesse's dynamic. And
I like their sassy, quirky dynamic. Like Jesse's really into her, and he knows she's gonna fall. And
what they should have done, is have Jesse be the main love interest, right? And then right when he's about to die, or like not even like before he's about to die, it's like let's have sex, and it's like, by the way, I should tell you I'm transgender, just so everyone would be like, oh, I hated the relationship the whole time.
I really didn't like it. I thought it was kind of dumb.
It was stupid the whole time.
I also like that the character everyone thought was trans, Abby, wasn't. There was a trans character, but it wasn't the one everyone was upset about.
I didn't even pick up that Levi, right? It's Levi?
Lev.
What's transgender? Like they talk about him shaving his head, and I was like, all right, I will get into the. You know what? Fuck it. Let's get into the Abby shit because I have some shit to say about Ellie, but it's mostly positive. I'm on the negative train right now. Fucking okay. So they start out with Abby killing Joel, so you're automatically like, fuck this character, right? Right. And then you play through Ellie's campaign, which is about, I don't know, like 10 hours the first part. And then you go into Abby's campaign, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a quick 4 hours, right? Nope, it's a 10-hour campaign, and they don't even fucking tell. Like, none of the marketing said that, like, Abby was going to be, like, a main character or anything. So they just, like, because they knew if they started with Abby to, like, build up motivation for her, like, people would just be like, what the fuck, I want to play as Ellie, and just drop the game. So that's why they added her much later. What I thought would have been done, because this isn't a linear fucking story. It, like, jumps, like 2 years before, 2 hours before, and shit like that. And it's just like, god damn it, can we just have a linear storyline for 5 seconds?
Sounds like in Tarantino on meth.
Exactly. So I think I talked to Markeith about this. What I would have preferred was if they start with Abby and Abby hanging out with her friends, and then immediately after, cut to Ellie brutally murdering that friend, right? So, like, you introduce Nora into camp, and then, like, the level right after, you jump back to Ellie, and Ellie's smacking the shit out of Nora. I felt like that would have worked more as a linear storyline, or at least, like, jumping, like, not, like, linear, you know what I mean? Like, they're crossing paths, whereas, like, this one feels like a jumbled fucking mess, and it's like, all right, now 10 hours of Abby, go. And it's like, the shit.
It's a lot. It was a lot.
And it was hard for me to sympathize with Abby's loss of her father, because we only spent, like, 30 minutes of the father, and, oh, look, he's saving a zebra. He's a really cool guy. So, like, the game is really forcefully telling me to care, and I'm like, all right, I already know what's going to fucking happen, so might as well just have it happen. And Abby, a character as herself, sorry, I'll let people talk, but let me just get my Abby shit out of the way. Yeah. Abby as a character is just, one, nice for no reason, just because, like, she just stumbles upon these guys, they save her life or whatever, the former cult members, and then, like, she's just nice throughout the whole game. It's like, nothing's wrong with Abby, and, like, to, like, kind of compete against, like, her physique or whatever, her physical physique. It's like, well, sometimes when she looks down, she gets a little wobbly, which is, like, one of those forceful characters.
Gets a little wobbly.
Like, one of those forceful, you know what I mean? Like, one of those
I know what you mean. That's
forceful
funny.
character, like, oh, she's a perfect human being, except for this one flaw. Like, Abby has one flaw, and that's she gets a little tipsy when she looks down, okay? Like, I mean... Granted, she's going across skyscrapers, so I could get where she's coming from. But, like, oh, she has a thing. And it's like, all right.
On the technical side, looking down when you're high up at any given point and it automatically giving you vertigo is very well done.
That was
good
cool.
Job, programmers. Good
that
job.
Was cool.
At any point, it does not matter where you are. If you are high up and you look down, it will automatically.
But I also felt like where Abby's campaign starts was very cheap, because it starts right when she points the gun at Ellie, and then it cuts, and then it's just a 10-hour campaign with Abby. Like, you want to know what happens to Ellie, and pretty much the game developers are like, well, if you want to see what happens to your favorite character, Ellie, you're going to have to play a 10-hour campaign. And it's like, fuck you, game. But at the same time, like, if you're not going to go the linear path, like, you kind of have to do that, because if you just start with Abby, no one's going to want to play the whole game.
Can I...
So...
okay, just one more thing. Sorry. I don't like Lev. Lev is a blank sheet of paper. Like, Ellie was, like, this charismatic girl or whatever, and, like, Lev's dry sense of humor kind of wanted me... I wanted to
he was
throw
also in a cult. Like, that's...
Exactly. So, like, he's a bland piece of fucking milk toast, and all I wanted to do was grab him on that skyscraper and just throw him the fuck off every time he says something depressing. Like, I was I support child murder. That's all I'm saying.
Tyler, you go.
Well, I just want to say, 'cause I had an opposite response to Lev, only because, like, at the end of the game, when you, like, go to California and you're gonna go kill her or whatever, the only reason I didn't want to kill Abby was because for as dry as Lev could be, he's like a kid who, like, escaped a horrible situation, and Abby, like, kind of saved him from that, which I guess was their point. But, like, I didn't want to kill Abby just because, like, he obviously wouldn't have gone with Ellie, so that would have really just, like, there was no reason for him to suffer, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Because he didn't choose. It's not like he was like, oh, Ellie or Abby, who do I want to be with? Like, Abby's the one who saved them and pulled them from that situation. So I think that was the only one of those, like, obviously, you know, I saw one or two of Abby's friends were okay, but I didn't really care. I think Lev was the only one of that, like, kind of like reverse psychology almost that worked on me, where, like, you rescue this kid, he might be kind of dry, but he's cool, he's good with a bow, so it's, like, cool. And you rescue him, and it's like, I don't really want to kill Abby because then this kid's got nothing. It also
kind of screamed to me, like, Abby with Lev. It's like, hey, look, it's just like Joel and Ellie, and it's like,
sure. I mean,
except for Abby killed Joel, so I still hate her. Like,
yeah, I mean, I didn't like Abby. I didn't like Abby because of that. I just didn't want to kill her for the reason that because Lev would have been screwed, and it's just not his fault. And I guess that was part of their message, and I get that. But that was the only part that worked for me. Right. I was like, this kid, he's a kid. You know, he doesn't want to deal with this. He thought he was going to go meet this big group with Abby and it was going to be fine. So, like, that was the only part where I was like, I get it. You know, that. That's why. Not saying he's a great character, and not saying the next Last of Us is going to be him. Like the first Last of Us poster with Joel and Ellie, but him and Abby. Like I don't think that at all.
I certainly hope not.
Yeah. I don't think that at all.
I yelled at Markeith about this last night. I'm like, I swear to God, if the next game is... Imagine the next game, it just advertises as Ellie, right? Like, oh, Ellie's back. But then, like, the first 15 hours of the game, it's just like, Abby and Lev, I'm going to actually throw the remote control at my TV screen. Like,
I'm not opposed to it. I don't want it. I would rather it be from, like I was texting you, I'd rather in the next game be, like, a different story where maybe some of these characters intercede somehow. But I just... On the subject of Lev and Abby, that was the only one of those, like, you're gonna relate or feel for these characters, and it wasn't even for Abby. I just didn't want her to die because he would have been screwed. That was it. That was all.
But
go ahead.
Jack, I know you're talking about this too. But what if like Abby and Ellie started hanging out in Last of Us Part 3? Now,
oh yeah,
that would be,
that's what I was saying too. That would piss me off.
They become Goku and Vegeta.
You're right.
Oh my God!
No.
They go from mortal enemies to being friends.
You're making it sound better than what it actually is. No, absolutely goddamn not.
I think it would be a situation where they need each other for a common goal, but I don't think they would ever be
friendly. I would shoot Abby in the goddamn
like
face.
Goku and Vegeta!
No.
Goku and Vegeta needed each other for a common goal on Namek. And then they became friends.
Only if they dye their hair blonde. That's the only exception.
And imagine they did like some fucked up banter where Abby's like holding a golf club or anything. It was just like,
that would be so funny. She's like, yo, remember when I beat Joel? You want to go club it?
I would
real subtle. She's like, "Hey, check out my swing," and then stops. Like,
I would go to Naughty Dog Studios, go up to Neil Druckmann, and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" and proceed to smash his head in with the golf.
I want them to do it just to anger you, because if I saw that while playing the first thing, I would be
honestly, I wouldn't call you first, Tyler. I would call Markeith immediately. I'd be like, "The motherfuckers did it." They actually did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Peter, did you want, or anyone, did you want to say? No, it's
yeah.
I had a long one too. But
I actually want to disagree with you. I don't think Abby's part was terrible.
That's because you're a fucking libtard, okay? You aren't Arkeesian motherfucker.
I was drinking water. I almost put that out. Fuck you.
I actually liked Abby's.
It's because you're a simp, Peter.
At first,
uninvited.
I hated it.
Get out.
At first, I hated it because already I've been playing for 10 hours. I've been playing another game. That's lasted about 100 hours. So I just want to.
You need to take a break from Persona.
I just want to finish like a game at that point. I was like, I just want to finish a video game. Can I please just finish a video game? And as I kept playing, I actually liked the fact that they were mirroring The Last of Us's story arc with Abby, because while you're saying it's kind of like, oh, here it is, it feels half-assed. I don't think it feels half-assed. I think it feels natural, and then it's even better when she still doesn't get what she wants.
So full
because she murders people. Like, she murders Joel, and like not only does she lose all her friends, she doesn't even get to meet the Fireflies for months.
Okay,
she gets.
She doesn't get to meet them at all. Yeah, she for all we know that they're not even. That could have been the other group pretending to be the Fireflies. We have no idea.
She does meet them. The game, when the game ends and you get the new title screen, the building you see in the background is actually a building on the island they mentioned.
She makes it. Yeah.
So she does actually get to see the Fireflies. She does meet the Fireflies eventually, but that's solely through Ellie forgiving her. That isn't because she found them. Like, they give this false sense of hope, and I was like, oh, cool, we get to meet the Fireflies, and then these random Florida...
Yeah,
where are they?
It's literally like Floridians, and they're in California.
Literally just a random group. Just a random group. And
I'll definitely admit, the last section was not entirely perfect, with the whole, like, where the fuck did these guys come from? Why do we have forced conflict with these random fuckers? Like, who cares? They're out of nowhere. But I also think she deserves. I pretty much said this in my review. They made her feel sympathetic. I think they did a pretty good job with the father figure of Abby's, as in like, sure, it's very cliche that he's like, oh, look at him, he saves a zoo animal and he wants to save the world, but it's like, yeah, but wouldn't you want to murder somebody for getting rid of your last beacon of hope? Your father, the only thing you truly care about in this apocalypse? Right. Sure, you have Owen, you have your fucking side piece, whatever, but that's your blood. That is who you've been surviving this entire thing with.
I get the message, right? I get the message behind it, but the character also has to pull the weight too. Like, I have to like Abby as a character, and I don't like Abby as a character because she's just
I really like her though. I don't
piece of like I was rooting for Ellie the entire time. I'm like, murder her, please, up until the very end.
I liked her, but I still wanted her to die, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I liked her perspective and I liked her character, but I think the problem with telling this story is even if they wrote her completely, there was no way that they were going to write her where it was going to completely satisfy everyone, because people who wanted her to die are going to say it's forced, you're trying to make us like her, regardless of how good of a job they did. And there's going to be people who go like, she's a good character, but she still needs to die because that's our perspective. You can't. That's been our perspective since the first game.
I'm not of the perspective.
I actually don't.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I actually don't want her. I feel like I'm the only one who didn't want this to happen. I'm glad she didn't die. I'm glad. I mean, maybe I'm not, but I'm glad she didn't die. The entire time I didn't want her to die. Even when I was playing as Ellie, I was like, I don't want to kill Abby.
It's so crazy because I had the exact opposite reaction.
I don't think that was the point.
So toward the end of the Abby campaign, right? Like, you go back to where Abby's pointing the gun at Ellie, and then you go through this whole theater thing, and then when Ellie becomes a Dark Soul boss, I'm like, Ellie, just fucking kill me. Like, you're not gonna make me kill Ellie. Like, I feel
wanted to beat the shit out of Ellie.
No,
I wanted to kill her.
No,
see,
absolutely
here's. I even said this, and I've got a very controversial opinion about the game.
Yeah, no
pretty much. I even said this in my review. Ellie is directly When I look at The Last of Us 2, I'm not comparing it to The Last of Us 1. When it comes to the story, at least, I'm continuing it. So whatever happens in The Last of Us 1 directly affects everything in The Last of Us 2. I'm going to critique The Last of Us 2 story as a sequel to The Last of Us, because it's a continuation of that story.
Sure.
If it was I was genuinely hoping, like, even like at the background of myself, I was like, man, this would be a lot better if this was like an anthology series, but it's not as of right now. But as of right now, it's not. And I'm looking at it as a continuation of Joel's actions at the very last point of the game. Joel screwed over the entire world, screwed over Ellie, kind of fucking up Ellie, right? Ellie, in all her flashbacks, clearly isn't like in the right mind space because she already isn't trusting Joel. Even in the last cutscene of The Last of Us, she doesn't trust Joel's answer. You can see it in her eyes and in her actions when she says okay. She doesn't trust what Joel's saying. She knows something's up. She doesn't know exactly what it is, but she doesn't trust Joel. So in the flashbacks, she's continually questioning Joel's last comment. She's like, what? Are you telling the truth to me? And Joel's like, yes, I am telling the truth. I'm good guy. Believe me, audience. I'm like, okay, no, you're terrible.
I think you're painting Joel in... Okay, so we can criticize...
People think I criticize Joel unfairly. I don't think I am. I think if that was a real person...
Joel's actions, but not based on his character. Like, Joel himself, like... Okay, so in The Last of Us, it's full of great characters, right? I feel like they pushed Abby to be a good person the entire time. Like, oh, here's the good guy of the story. When Last of Us is all about the great characters. Like, great characters, anti-heroes are the most interesting characters in movies, media, whatever. You know, take your Walter Whites or whatever the fuck. And then Abby's just this like, oh, well, look, I took this little kid in with me. Look at me. Or,
I don't...
That's not accurate.
You might be you might be misinterpreting me. I don't think Abby's entirely good. I'm really glad she doesn't meet the Fireflies.
I'm saying she is entirely good.
Well, I mean, she does. She does meet the Fireflies eventually. But I'm glad she got beaten the shit out of before she could save them, because she didn't deserve a happy ending either, because she murdered Joel. She's still a bad person, just like Joel was.
I found it interesting when she was about to kill Dina and Ellie told her she was pregnant and she said good. That was one of the few times where like they were playing her up to be the good guy. But if we're being completely honest here, if like you look at Ellie and Joel as the first guys, they were the good guys in our perspective when mowing. Like, you're still mowing through people, even though they're cultists. Like, it's very complicated because a lot of her actions were strictly good, right?
At the same time, though, like,
we're for good in the perspective.
You can argue, like, oh, well, they're cult members, so they probably think some fucked up shit, and they do think of some fucked up shit too. So, like, it's more justifiable for those kills where they have Ellie literally taking out wolf soldiers, which are just like basically people,
right?
But
so I feel like
just as fucked up.
In that narrative,
just as fucked up.
Well, I think it's
they were fucked up in their own way.
But I feel like the cult was more of like, okay, this is more of a bad guy,
and even
where the wolf is more of like, except for toward the end when they tried to genocide the whole cult or whatever. Like,
well, not even just that. Like, there's that prison they have of just torturing Scars members, right? There's even in the papers.
Well,
why would you? If they're morally ambiguous, why are people leaving their group? There were Wolves members, the people that jumped us when we were looking at the workbench. They were trying to leave the Wolves. Right. Why? Why were they trying to leave the Wolves? And in the papers, you just read they're no better than the military group before. They're even worse.
Right.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, I would say
they're not as good either.
They're on equal ground, sure, but I don't know. I just definitely. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but I just could not get along with Abby's character just because. I mean, only just because of Joel's death, but just because she's not as developed. Like with Ellie, Ellie's already got a head start on Abby as a character just because we played as her in the last game and we got to experience all that with her. So. Already, we're just like, we want this character to live just because we have so much experience with her. Whereas opposed to Abby is just like half a game pretty much, and they're like, all right, this is the part where we put in the Joel and Ellie thing, but instead it's Abby and Leave, whatever the fuck. I keep forgetting that. Lev.
Well, that's
I keep forgetting the fucking name, but it feels like very forced. Like, okay, she's a good person, guys. We swear to God, you should really like her. And it's like,
but I can't. Think the game. I think you're looking at it wrong.
I think Neil Druckmann wanted me to feel that, and I was like, no.
I don't think the game was trying to tell you that Abby is one like.
That's with the knife thing. That was what drove that home for me, because I agree with you. I forgot your name, but goddamn it. Peter. That's why I kind of agree with you, because that knife thing, although there weren't a lot of moments like that, that was arguably one of the most messed up things. Is yes, Ellie killed somebody who was pregnant, but she didn't know. This was Abby kind of reverting back to her from the beginning of the game when she killed Joel, where she's like really angry, but because Lev's there now and because she cares about Lev, she's like, oh crap, I can't do, because she would, if Lev was not there, Dina would be dead. I had no doubt in my mind. There was nothing that they could say that would have convinced her. They wouldn't have had a heart-to-heart. Dina would have died, Ellie would have died, and the game. So I think that yes, while it definitely was a mirror to the first game, I think it was important because they showed her as primarily good, but you have somebody like Ellie or Joel who, for the most of the first game, you thought was primarily good. You're sneaking out of the camp because it's Fedra's enforced group, and you're killing all these like random people. She's it's hard because it seems forced, but there really is no other way to get that message across without it seeming forced, because you have to make her likable. If you want that to be your method, you can't. You could do the anti-hero thing, and you could argue maybe they did, but it's gonna be like, if you want to convince me that she's a good person and her dad didn't deserve this and her people are just like your people, you gotta write them almost the same. It's just it's unfortunate, but
and just
also they rewrote the Doctor as a white dude when in the original he's black.
So I saw a lot of controversy about that, because some people said that he wasn't just like dirty, and I was like, well, where did he get dirty from?
But I don't know. He's black.
Wow. Well, they probably this. I feel like this was definitely. I definitely
Well, also-
feel like this game was directly made because The Last of Us did well. I think if
Well, yeah.
like,
If
I don't think anything would have been. I felt like The Last of Us 2 should have never happened. It should have just been The Last of Us.
Yep.
But it's impossible because the game made millions
Right.
and also did
Yeah.
commercial.
Because I love the
critically well. Like
I love the open ending of the first Last of Us where you would just never knew, but now we kind of know those answers. I feel like we should get off the Abby stuff just because we're just gonna go around in circles.
yeah, I definitely agree
Before
with
we
that.
move on, can I say my piece about the whole the plot?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
go
I guess
ahead.
you fucking idiot.
Okay. Well, I haven't played the game because I don't have PS4. I did watch gameplay and am aware of the majority of the story. What I will say is, I like how it shows that our protagonists are not good. Our enemies are not good or bad either. But at the end, like whatever the fucking quote is about, like going for revenge, you better dig 2 graves.
Mhm.
Like that's basically, you could just like sum up the entire game as that, because nobody really wins, and if they do, it's barely. They barely win. Abby loses her loses everybody. Sure, she gains a kid, but she loses everybody and has to go down the entire coast, like the entire U.S. coast, just for a sliver of hope that she could maybe start again. Ellie, she was done. She had a family, she had a farm, she didn't get unscathed. Yeah, I mean, Tommy was hurt, but like still, he was still alive. But like,
Yeah, Tommy burned bridges with her at the end of the game. They were done.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I blame Tommy for Ellie going back because I mean she would have had nightmares still, but I don't think Ellie had any intention on leaving that ranch. So that pissed me off with Tommy.
I think we should just. Ronald, do you want to conclude before we move on?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Basically that's it. Like nobody won, and if they did, it was barely, and
Well,
it was almost not worth it.
I feel like definitely Abby won.
I mean, Abby did meet the Fireflies in the end. It's confirmed with the ending. Versus Ellie,
But also,
Ellie loses 2 fingers.
She can't even play guitar. That made me so sad.
I just
Okay, wait. All right.
I just want to touch
the
upon
guitar thing.
Okay.
She could. Did she not play guitar there? I feel like she did play guitar.
She played a little.
I could be going crazy.
She played a little.
I was gonna say she definitely. I feel like you could play guitar with 2 fingers.
They made a few notes sound a little shaky to try to be like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
she can't play
But
guitar good.
I just want to touch upon one thing with Abby. I never felt anything, and this is why I suggest like they should go the back and forth, like Abby, then it's Ellie, then it's Abby. Like when Abby's friends died, like in her campaign, like Manny, I didn't really give a shit. I didn't give a shit about any of them, honest to God, and neither did Abby.
I agree with you
because
on that.
like literally,
I do not
Manny
care
dies
about
right next to her, and then she's like, "All right, anyways, moving on." It's like what? But let's get it.
I will give her credit. She is being shot at by a very good fucking sniper.
All
right.
Let's stop talking about your waifu Abby and move on to my waifu Ellie. I love Ellie in this game. Ellie in this game is my girl. Like,
yeah, Ellie's pretty awesome.
I love her. Like, Ellie is like Abby's the simplified version of basically what happened in The Last of Us and the previous Last of Us game. Ellie's is fucking complex as shit, right? Because at first it just looks like, and I do criticize this in my review, that it's just a generic revenge plot, but because we spend so much time with Ellie and stuff, like, it's just done way better because you get to see the people surrounding her get hurt, right? So, like, Dina's revealed pregnant, and then Ellie, not being the decent human being that she should be in that moment, be like, oh, let's just go back to Jackson or whatever. No, she's like all right, you're gonna stay here and find my targets. So like you could see Ellie's plunge into darkness. Like she's not a great character.
One of the themes was obsession. Like that was intentional,
right?
Ellie which is a mirror of Uncharted 4.
Right.
Yes.
Like Ellie is obsessed with like finding these people and killing these people, and ethically she's not a great character, but like as a character arc, it's vastly interesting than anything Abby's campaign did at all. And I hate how it's an oversimplification of like revenge and shit like that up until the very end. But overall, I enjoyed Ellie's campaign so much, especially that one scene where you're killing Nora, and like that's one of the most iconic things The Last of Us has ever done. Is
forcing you to beat her
when you're forcing to basically torture her and kill her. And I love the moment where like Nora looks at her, it's like, why aren't you wearing a mask? She's like, immune, bitch.
Yeah. I was really happy I did that. I was
and the scenery is just
you, Nora.
The scenery is just drenched in red, and I was like, as a cinema nerd, I was like, I think I'm gonna cream.
Oh my god!
I thoroughly enjoyed Ellie's campaign. If anyone wants to jump on that bandwagon, or if Peter, if you want to tell me that Abby's campaign is better than Ellie's and that your wife is better than mine, then I will go to war at you.
I don't think it's better or worse. I think personally, I liked them equally.
Okay, I'm going to genocide your whole village.
Please do. I like them both.
I'm going to delete all your.
I agree.
I'm going to delete all your save files in Persona 5.
I think
I will kill you.
I think Ellie's campaign was more interesting story and character-wise, but I think Abby's campaign was vastly more interesting with lore and world building because you got to see this other group from the inside.
Okay.
You got more connection with the cult. Not only did you get more interaction with the cult, you like met cult members who told you about their thing, and you went through not only their buildings up and like when they were like, "Oh, we go up in the sky because wolves never look up." I was like, "That is sick." I don't know why.
That's a sick line. That's a sick line.
And Abby was like, "What is that?" But like, I think that Ellie's was like the story I liked better, and obviously the character development, the characters in general, I liked better. But Abby's campaign, I think, was vital. And the reason why I think the next Last of Us game won't be tied is I think they wanted to really explore the world, and that was like the perfect opportunity.
Yes, that is exactly. I agree with that.
Because they're like, we have this new character who wasn't a part of our group.
Yeah.
So now that she's in a completely different area, let's just go crazy. And
I do agree with that. Like Ellie's story was to progress the story from the previous Last of Us game, and then Abby's campaign is like, here's all the shit you never knew, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Because and I think that is important because although I think Abby's campaign went slightly too long, I was engaged in it mainly because I was like, there is so much cool stuff that this world can offer, and I hope if they do another that they explore it more. Because I text you, I was like, I could see them doing a third game and it almost being like the third season of Telltale's Walking Dead, where like Ellie might be there.
Better.
Yeah, done way better, hopefully. Where like Ellie may be there at some point, or may show up, or she might be there in the beginning, but it's like a different group. It's a different setting because I think they have such an interesting world, and that and that's why Abby's. I loved all the cult. I mean, I like cult stuff to begin with, but they did it like I like lore. That's why a lot of the like franchises I love the most. I like them because they have like lore you can really like learn about, like it's real. So I think that's my take.
Tyler, I'm 100% with you. Like seriously, like I compared The Last of Us 2. When I heard The Last of Us 2 was coming out, I compared it to my thoughts when they revealed that Stranger Things was going to have a season 2.
Right.
I was so pissed. I was like, leave it alone. I don't want to know more. And like when I finished the game, The Last of Us 2, I was like, maybe the reason why I liked Abby's section so much is because I wanted an anthology series. I wanted different stories in this world because this world is so interesting. This world is so cool.
Tackle it. I want to see. Like I wasn't a huge fan of the whole last second go to California for this extra hour or whatever. But like it was kind of cool seeing a new setting, seeing how a different group ran. Like that stuff I like.
I think what sequels. Sorry to cut you off. I think what sequels do best, like as we've seen, like sequels. Bad sequels will just be basically just the first movie, but with a different coat of paint, right? But like, take Aliens, take T2, like it borrows some aspects of the first movie, but then also expands the universe. Take like, Ripley with just one alien, now add a bunch of aliens and an alien queen. So like, add new aspects of it, but don't overall change the entire universe to something different.
Queen.
Oh, thanks, baby. I wish I could lay you as an egg.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean we're cutting it pretty close. We could go over a little bit, but I think.
Do you want to talk about the end? Let's talk about the end.
Yeah, I want to talk about the end. I don't hate the ending, and people who hate the ending don't really get the whole, like, a lot of people are just like, oh, this whole game's just about revenge, and I fall into that camp a little bit, but then toward the end it's really a game about forgiveness and forgiving other people's actions and stuff. Now, part of me personally wants Abby to die in the most horrific way possible, but it doesn't fit in line with what the game was trying to convey about how revenge and obsession is a terrible thing and that you should learn to forgive. Because we see in the last segment, I don't even want to talk about the Raptors. Basically, the Raptors are just new characters, whatever the fuck. Basically, the ending to me is Ellie facing off with Abby and then going to the farm and the farm's abandoned.
I agree with you on that, yeah.
Like, that fight, like, part of me wanted Ellie to kill Abby, but another part of me was like, kind of like, this is like, once she put, and a lot of people complain like Ellie would never do this, but like, if you played the whole game, if you actually held the controller in your hand and not read the script, you would understand this. When Ellie puts a knife to Lev.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right.
Well, that's good. You played a 24-hour game. I would hope you'd remember that.
Yeah, right. Well, he was a blank piece of toast, but whatever. Ellie holds a knife up to Lev's throat, and people are like, "That Ellie wouldn't do that." It's like,
Ellie would do that.
If you played the game, Last of Us Part 2, and not just played 1 and read the script, you would understand that she's willing to go at any lengths to kill Abby.
Because a 10-year-old is definitely the same as like an 18. I know there wasn't that big of a jump, but like,
right.
You know, I was the same, you know. I pretty much had the same morals I did when I was like in middle school. So that's just me.
I just love that shot of Ellie just lets Abby go, and then you just see her sitting in the water in shame, and then just the boat, Abby just going away. And like, hopefully Ellie and Abby never meet each other again, so she's never going to get that second chance that she just got. And then when she goes back home to the farm, Dina said previously when she goes on this revenge quest that she's leaving, and then we see that
she's taking
Dina
the
left,
kids.
and she did.
She did. She literally took the kids. And then at the very end, we just see Ellie just walk off on what she's left with nothing, and that's what I love about the game, because it paints revenge in a very bad light. It's not about violence bad, no violence should be good. It's a character-driven story about this character who was obsessed with revenge, and this is where she ended up because of her obsessions.
Right. Like, how far is this person willing to go, and is it worth it? Most of the time, and even in revenge stories that end up, quote, good, most of the time it's not worth it. You do a lot of awful things that most people would regret, which I think Ellie not killing Abby is probably the most Ellie thing in that game, because you got the first game she was an optimist, and the second game she wasn't because she lost hope. Whatever, they killed Joel and she's pissed and the world sucks. Blah blah blah. Joel lied to her. So I think it's important to know that, and you can see that when she kills that pregnant woman. If she knew that woman was pregnant, regardless,
she wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, regardless, if she was the one who killed Joel herself, there's no doubt in my mind she wouldn't have done it. And I think that was one of the first times where you saw that, like, oh, and the first time was when what Dina was pregnant. I think she really did reconsider doing this, but I think that was the first time that really cemented. You're like, oh, I don't know if Ellie's really about this. I think there's going to be something that's going to break her. There's not, she's putting on that tough person because she does want revenge, and rightfully so. But you could still see that's just not who she's used to being, and that's And then she kills the pregnant woman, and she's like, man, I have went too far, regardless if it was on accident or not.
And as soon as she killed the pregnant woman, she was like totally with Tommy, like, time to go home.
She literally was like, let's go. Like, she was like about to vomit. Tommy's like, we got to go. And she's like, yeah, I'm out. Like, and I think that's why, and I totally blame Tommy for Ellie's ending, because I think Tommy didn't do as much awful stuff. So he was still on that revenge kick. And because she was still having the nightmares, and because Tommy was still pissed, that I think he like guilted her into it. Like,
yeah, well, I love that moment. It's like one of the best acted scenes is like when Tommy's like, all right, there she is, we're gonna go find her, and Ellie's just like, I'm not about that anymore. That's literally one of the best acting motion cap moments, whatever, just acting in general in a video game, because you could see in her face like she kind of still wants to go, but she's like kind of being forced, or she's forcing herself to say no.
you can see in her face that she knows if she goes that it'll ruin what she has with Dina.
Exactly.
And part of her still wants to kill. Like, she's in that moment, she's not yes or no. She says no because that's what she wants. But you could tell she's really weighing her options. Like, does she want Abby dead? Yes. Is it worth it to go several states by yourself?
My mind says no, but my body says yes.
Yeah, it was literally one of those moments where she was like, she gave it up because she went too far. And the man who did not go as far as her is like egging her on, and she doesn't want to. But now that she knows where she is, it's like reachable, right? She's like, well, I might as well do it because he gave me pretty much where she is. I just got to get down there. And that's what sucks about that Tommy kind of ruined her happy ending because he couldn't let go because he never got pushed far enough.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
Hey, what did Tommy end up with? Like a broken leg, right?
A broken leg, a blind eye, and no wife. He lost everything too because of it.
Everyone lost everything.
Tommy really got fucked over by the way.
And listen, I feel bad for him. His brother died. He lost his wife. He can't see in his whatever eye.
Yeah.
But at the moment he showed up and he's like, I gotta lead. I was like, don't do it. I was like, don't do it because you know that she is still trying to get over this.
I thought the game was going to end with Ellie happy on a farm. I was like, this is going to be great. And then I saw Tommy. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
And as soon as I was walking back to the house, I was like, she's not in this house. I'm like, I knew it. I was like, there's no way in hell Dina's here. She's gone. It's done. It's ruined. Nothing. This was a waste. And it kind of made me angry at first, but that's the point. It's trying to tell you that you go too far and you know your limits, but if you don't, you ruin it. It's over. You've ruined everything.
No, I absolutely love the ending. The ending
Dina
was the best part.
That. Dina doesn't deserve to deal with that. You know, it sucked. It wasn't a happy ending, but the world sucks. It's the apocalypse.
Yeah, it's The Last of Us. It's supposed to be miserable.
I will say it may have while Ellie did lose Dina, which was the love of her life, of course. I think as well she did finally get over it. She got over the hurdle that she needed to get over. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whether Tommy did it, Tommy was the one who pushed her over the edge. I think that she needed to go see. I think she needed to. I was really hoping, regardless if it was Tommy or not, I think she needed to leave. I don't think Ellie is. I don't think Ellie. As much as I love the fact that Ellie was able to settle down for however long with Dina, I don't think that's who she is as the way she was raised being with Joel, because Joel really wasn't somebody, even in the town, even in Jackson, when first given the option of going to Jackson, that wasn't Joel. Joel was like, that's not really me, it's not my scene, I'm going to leave even when I drop off Ellie. Like, and Ellie kind of is a little bit like Joel in some aspects, and I feel like that's one of hers. Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the aspects that she has of Joel is she's not somebody who's going to settle down. She's somebody who's going to keep doing things.
That's why I think
she's somebody who needs to find purpose.
That's why I think the symbolism of her not being able to play Joel's guitar is her leaving that aspect of Joel out of her life. You know what I mean? Like, Joel taught her in the very beginning. We're introduced to the guitar. It's literally the opening shot. And then, Joel teaching Ellie how to play guitar. We see in the flashbacks, are you playing guitar? We could get new strings for your guitar and stuff. Like, that's still her attachment to Joel, good and bad. And she left that behind to be a new person and move past the negative aspects of Joel's life. Yeah. By the way, can we talk about the tearjerker if that was that conversation with
the
Joel and Ellie?
One?
God
the forgiveness one. It hits so hard because you know what's going to happen then tomorrow. Well, you know what's happening that next day, because literally that next day is Joel dies. Ellie doesn't get the chance to forgive him. Which is why she goes on that suicide mission to kill Abby.
Some of the alternative takes for that was like they were going to end with Ellie hugging Joel, and then the actress was actually like, she definitely wouldn't do that though, because like.
Yeah, I'm so glad they know their characters.
That they ended it on not such a miserable level where she's like, I hate you, Joel, I hope you burn in hell. But at the same time... It was a realistic
level, though.
At the same time, it's like, I can't forgive you, but I at least want to try. And if we backtrack to like the very beginning of the game with Ellie, Ellie's like, "Oh yeah, me and Joel are gonna watch a movie," and that's like directly after, like, just hindsight being hindsight. That's directly after the little fight that they had, so they're finally going to be able to get on track. But she doesn't even get that chance because Abby kills her, so she never gets to watch the movie.
And that's realistic about it to me. It wasn't like oh, I forgive you for not giving me the choice and probably dooming the whole world and lying to me about it for like how many years. Mm-hmm. She was like, you know what you did sucks, and I'm going to tell you it sucks. She never said what he did was right, but she's like, you took away my choice. You probably doomed everyone. It was a shitty choice, but you know what? It's done. It's over. We're in here together, and you know what? We're gonna need each other at some point, probably. So let's just try. She
literally said you took away that I could have been something, and you just took that away without asking me, and it's like, ouch, like that hurts. But like, it was still a good last Joel and Ellie conversation.
Because it was real. It was a real conversation. There was nothing artificial. There was nothing forced about it. It was like, what you did sucks, and I don't know if I don't know if I could ever fully forgive you for it, but I'm going to try because we went through something horrible together. We got through the other end, and you know what? We're here now. There's no it's just what it is. That's it.
The very last thing I want to touch on before we conclude or everything is some of the best parts of. God damn it, Ronald. Some of the best parts of the game was like the Joel and Ellie flashbacks. Fuck you. The Joel and Ellie flashbacks, like, them right after the fight, and she's like with Tommy, hanging out with Tommy, sniping zombies or whatever, and then Tommy's just like, "Oh look, Joel's here. You guys want to do something together?" And like you can literally have like a conversational piece with Tommy, like, "Can you come with us?" And Tommy's like, "It's just you two. Go ahead." And the spaceship flashback.
I was just about to tell you, that was one of the first times in video game, and I played a lot of video games. That was one of the first time in video game history I almost cried at a scene that wasn't like a death and sad scene. There was just something about that scene that was done so perfectly that it was unlike I wasn't ready for it. When he gave her the tape and it said like flight whatever, I was like, don't do this. I was like,
I wasn't ready for that either. I was like
don't.
Yeah, so good.
And then they said they did the sound effects, and it was just like a close-up shot of her. There wasn't anything. There was like stars, like her imagination. And I was like, I have watched a lot of TV, watched a lot of movies, and I played a lot of games. That was one of the most masterful moments I've ever. I'm sorry. It was. I don't know who. I don't know if that was Neil Druckmann. I don't know if it was the other girl who wrote it. I don't know who the hell did it, but that scene and the Troy Baker and the woman who plays Ellie, I forgot her name. Sorry,
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson. The fact that they'll probably never get recognized officially for that scene in some sort of award or whatever is downright.
I guarantee they will be recognized for their roles.
They'll get recognized for their role. That scene though. I
feel like that scene will definitely be. You'll see it in like their little montage thing where Ashley Johnson for The Last of Us Part 2. It'll be there. It won't be fully recognized, but it'll be there. It'll be one of her scenes where she's like smiling and shit. I guarantee it'll be there because people are exactly like you, and I agree with it. Like that was one of the best scenes ever. Like it was perfect. It was perfect.
That's all.
That's all.
That's all I got. I don't have anything else.
So, yeah, I think we should end the podcast here. But before we do so, I think everyone should just go around, say their final thoughts. I'll just go first since I'm the goddamn host and I can do whatever the fuck I want.
I hate.
So overall, I love the gameplay. The story struggles with me just because of the one aspect with Abby. However, this is not a dumpster fire game. Anyone who says it's a dumpster fire game is talking out of their ass.
A dumpster fire?
However, I don't think this is like what the critics say, like a masterpiece. Like this should be hailed as the holy grail of video games. Like, no, I mean, it's a fine sequel to a Last of Us game, a sequel that really kind of didn't need to happen, but I'm still glad it exists, and I enjoyed playing through it. Replay value wise, not as much, just because you have to go through the whole Abby thing. But overall, I really did enjoy the experience, and this this is like the Last of Us of like video games, right? Like some people are gonna hate it, some people are gonna love it, but there's a middle ground, and I'm the middle ground. I love some aspects of this game, and I hate some aspects of this game, but overall, I think it's a pretty good game. Overall, if we have to give it a numeric number, I'd say like a 7.5 out of 10. Like, I enjoyed the game, but there were some aspects that I didn't enjoy so much. So that's kind of my concluding thoughts. Whoever wants to go next.
I'll just go because I don't know. I'm gonna forget what I want to say. So, I would say numeric wise, I'd probably give it an 8. Now, basically my take on this game is I don't think it's the game of the generation, as people are calling it, or the game of the decade, whatever. However, I think it's one of the most important games of this decade or this generation.
Definitely the most controversial.
Well, but that's why I think it's, and I think I texted you almost word for word what I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of times where a sequel will be made, and because it's a sequel, it has a lot of story elements that fans are going to love because their characters are back and it's cool, right? But I think it's one of the most important storytelling games we're going to get of this generation because they pretty much took two characters beloved for whatever reasons you may have, you might have liked them, and pretty much said, we know what you want, but unfortunately, the world that we created does not work with that. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. So I would rather, and I hope more games do this in the future, I applaud them for instead of pandering to what everybody wanted and what everybody maybe would have liked more, they tried to tell a story that they believed in. Obviously, that's important, but that in my opinion makes sense. It's a weird plot on paper. You can go on Twitter and say, "Remember the random nameless doctor you killed? Yeah, his buff daughter's pissed." Yeah, it's kind of
that is the perfect way to describe Abby.
Peter's wife who fucked the shit out of Joel.
That's literally Twitter. And yeah, when you say it like that, it's dumb. Like, sure, you can make anything sound dumb, but you think about it. If you really think about what this game is, in the first game, you killed a man who was going to probably save the world because you lost your daughter and you're sad about it, and now you've doomed the world to eternity. And yeah, his daughter and his people from the Fireflies are pissed. Sorry, that's what it is. You're pretty much, that's what the game is. That's what it is. So I would give it an 8 because I think gameplay-wise, yeah, it could have gotten a little stale. It went a little long. And yeah, I think Abby's thing went a little too long. Whatever. I think it was important. And I think that more people should take risks like it. Because otherwise, you're just going to get a million sequels for these quote, narrative masterpieces, which is like, let's say the next Spider-Man came out and it was like, oh, here's another game where like 5 Spider-Man villains that you liked in the comics are all teaming up. Like, it's like, okay, but that was what the other one was. Like, but that's what happens a lot, you know?
Yeah, well, I think it's important for sequels to take, like, risks and stuff like that. And, like, this game definitely took risks, so.
This game is a risk.
Yeah, this game is a risk.
Everything about this game is a risk.
Yeah. Anyone else just want to jump in?
Yeah, I will jump in. I'll pretty much just read, like, verbatim what I said at the end of my review. Like, at the end of the day, this game will be remembered regardless of whether you like it or not. Like, you just won't forget your experience with it because it truly does speak to it. It reminds me of the Last Jedi in many ways of how it's been received. But for me, I liked it. I had a positive experience. I liked Abby's section. I liked Ellie's section. I loved the story. The gameplay, not so much. I kind of felt bored through it, but the story kept me hooked long enough to keep playing it, long enough to keep pushing me through because I wanted to see it to the end. So, yeah, it was overall really good. I would recommend it for anybody. I would recommend it for people who really like The Last of Us. I would recommend it for people who are interested in The Last of Us. I don't want to give it a numeric score just because, like, I think it's a good game, and yeah, I don't think it needs a numeric score to prove that I liked it and it was good.
Fuck me, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, fuck you guys for giving it your 7.5 and 8, you pieces of shit.
I get it, though, because it's meant to get everyone's meant to get something different out of this game, so numeric values aren't going to help anybody because you're going to resonate with some aspects and you're not good with everyone.
I mean, I fall into kind of the Peter, like, red letter media type where it's like you either recommend it or you don't recommend it. That's just what it is. But, like, I don't know. For just, like a numeric number for this game kind of works because it's just like if you're in between, how else can you really describe like I hate the gameplay but I love the story, or I love the story but I hate
That's pretty much
the
what
same
top
thing.
shades are lately.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, fuck you, Peter, for totally calling me out there, you scumbag. Your waifu sucks.
I don't have a. I just don't have a score. You know,
all your waifus with a golf club. So, suck my dick.
Dude, as long as you don't beat up Makoto in your Persona 5 playthrough, don't beat up Makoto. Please, for God's sakes, don't hurt Kasumi.
I'm gonna
please
slash her throat and make her family watch.
Please. Wow. You mean you're only her sister?
All right.
Wow.
We got 2 more. We're almost 2 hours. We got 2 more conclusions.
This game's so good. This game's so fun. I like it.
This game's just fun to talk about. You could there's a million things you could talk. You could spend hours.
All right, Ronald, Markeith, you're up. Whichever one wants to talk.
Oh shit! What?
Cool.
Markeith, gonna go?
Yeah, go, Ronald. Go.
All right. Shit. Okay. I would like to say it's a good game, good plot, decent gameplay. It's good. And Markeith, over to you.
I just want to give Ronald's review a 10 out of 10.
Ronald, I like the style.
Wait, I like to add tall grass, best feature.
Prone best feature.
Game of the year material right there.
Yeah, goddamn. Better than Sniper Elite.
Yo.
I'm gonna keep it real right now. I kind of blanked out for like the last 30 minutes.
Yo, that's what's up.
Yeah, I haven't heard you in a while, but
yeah, I think it was something like Peter was calling Jack a cunt or something like that.
Yeah, right about there, pretty much. You got it.
Didn't we
Abby's
all call
also
Jack a
cute.
cunt?
She hits the gym a lot. I like to know her arm routine.
wouldn't we all?
I would say like strong 9 out of 10.
What the fuck?
Yep. I like it.
All right. All right. Well, that's it for the Sheep of Friends podcast. This is a more focused one, less shit talky, but I think we all did a good job here. I
did not think so.
Just want to.
Yeah. Where?
I mean, Peter did a shit job by defending his waifu, but
Oh, fuck you.
I love all these people on the panels.
Father, at like the mid part of this, I just was gone.
Yeah, I was like, "Where's Markeith?"
Where's Markeith and where's Ronald? Peter, Tyler, and JJ are talking too much.
And then toward the end, I started fighting with Peter with Abby. No, Abby sucks.
Oh my god.
That's a
you know what? Bro. But that's a valid argument. Unlike the she's gay.
At least we were all on the same. Yeah, at least we were all on the same page with Joel's death. Like
I think most. Yeah. We're not. We ready. But yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, a couple plugs I want to get through. Next Monday, I will be releasing my Last of Us 2 review, or possibly sooner. I don't know. Just depends on how much time I have. I'm just pretty much looking through gameplay footage, matching to the audio that I.
Why not just get yours?
I don't have a capture card, so I didn't.
Get wrecked.
Yo,
sounds like you didn't have a gaming channel in high school. What a nerd.
I don't have a gaming channel in high school.
But he has
but not even really. Although I would like to have one. If any of y'all interested. Anyways, whatever the fuck. The Sheep of Friends podcast. They've been coming out randomly. I want to try to kick it to.
Oh my god, nigga, just end this.
Friday. I have to plug shit in. Fridays,
You're saying
podcasts,
shit.
videos, whenever. Listen, you haven't talked through the whole goddamn podcast, and now you just want to chime in and beat the shit out of me.
I want to
Stop kind of silence, Markeith.
Come
Shut
on.
the fuck up. All right, Markeith, plug in your shitty music. Go.
I got music, all right? Apples, Spotify,
Apples?
Markeith Black. Yes, apples. Nigga.
All right, go to your
Okay,
your local shop right and go to the Apple.
Go to your
section.
local Spotify and pick up some Markeith.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Next up, Ronald, plug in your shit.
I don't really have shit, but if you guys somehow find my Twitter, follow, like to keep up with what's happening, and over to the next person.
All right, Tyler, what do you want to plug in?
I mean, I could plug a garbage, inactive YouTube channel, but I'm not going to. So, just I don't really have anything.
Okay, beautiful. Less important guest, Peter. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead and plug
So
in your
if you
YouTube
guys
channel.
could join, if you guys could subscribe to my Abby Appreciation channel,
Oh,
right.
Jesus Christ! A
it is
GoFundMe.
at J. It is at JJ. The channel is called JJ Suck My Dick. Abby's awesome.
Can I donate? Can I subscribe to Patreon?
Yeah. Please, we got Patreon. It's a little different than the channel. No, if you, it's kind of the same thing as last time. Yukon Gaming is where I'm most active right now when it comes to working on stuff. I'm also working on stuff for Yukon's TV station. It's UC TV 14. So
is that the
check
channel
those
number?
new things out. That's not on TV. It's what it's because I don't know why it's got a 14 at the end, but it's UC TV 14. And we're doing a lot more content coming in the next couple months for both channels. So check it out.
And actually check out Peter's review over by that channel of Last of Us 2. I actually really liked it a lot. He brings up a lot of good points. All right, so that's going to be it for this episode of the Sheep and Friends